Hi, friends. So, today we've completed 1 month of living with COVID. It was 4 weeks ago tonight that Nico thought he had sunstroke, and it ended up being the first symptoms of having COVID. It's been a long month, it's been a long 4 weeks. We've learned a lot, and we continue to learn a lot about COVID, about ourselves, about caring for one another and for caring for our own bodies and listening to them. Sam, had a very mild case of COVID. I think he had fevers and discomfort for about 5 days, and then his fevers went away. And although he is still aware his lungs are weaker than they were before and he needs to build up his stamina, he's feeling really good, and he's getting ready to go back to school in Minnesota in 2 weeks to St. John's, and he's very excited to get out of quarantine with his parents, which is so understandable. Nico had the hardest journey initially. He had fevers regularly, he had chest pain, he had deep fatigue, and was incredibly internal for the first 3 weeks. And then last Monday, he was diagnosed with viral pneumonia in his upper lungs. And having that diagnosis, I think, relieved a lot of stress because he was very aware that something wasn't right in his lungs, and he kept doing this, saying something's not right in there. So knowing that it was viral pneumonia, that it's a common secondary infection for people who have COVID, and that it was in the upper lungs, which is so much better than if it was in the lower lungs. I think it just, having the diagnosis took away stress for us, and Nico's vitality has increased every day. And today he even went to the recycling center and did some laundry and things around the house, and then rested the rest of the day. But to see him doing chores he would normally do every weekend, to get some of them, to see him able to do some of those each day is wonderful. It was difficult for me the first 2 weeks of COVID. Then the third week, I felt great. I didn't have any fevers, very few headaches, a little nausea, but not much. Was increasing my walking every day and feeling great. And then last Monday night, I had my first fever in a week and stomach pains, and those have continued all week. Today we went for a walk down by the waterfront, which was so delightful. We went to a part of the waterfront where there's not many people, so we weren't running into others. We were masked up, and it was just wonderful to be down by the water, especially since this has been such a hot day here in the Pacific Northwest. And then we came home and I had a fever of 100.2, and I was down for the rest of the day. So that's been a bit discouraging, to have these low-grade fevers every day. Sometimes they only last a half hour, an hour, a couple hours. Sometimes they last all evening. I'll just be glad when they're gone. I'm really utilizing the imagery that these small bursts of fevers are clearing any residual COVID out of my body and field, and any secondary infections are being burned out to restore me to total and complete health. My prayer at this time is that each of us will be renewed to full health, and that any residual effects will be released, and that we will regain our vitality and our strength, and that we will all be ready to resume our lives soon. So I ask you to pray that with me, to imagine Nico and I back to work and having the stamina and the strength and vitality to do our work that we love, and for Sam to be able to go back to school and to stay healthy, and to be able to enjoy his senior year. I just cannot believe it's his senior year. Time goes by so quickly. So I pray that you all had a wonderful weekend, and that this next week brings you many gifts. Much love to you. Many blessings.